Hello, family. I'm back. It was kind of prompted to me to just share my testimony and my story of who I am, because I know a lot of people was like, "Who the hell is this dude?" You know what I'm saying? And like I'm talking sketchy because I have a vast variety of knowledge in my mind that I cannot share 36 years or 35 years of information in 5-second videos. So I'll just give you an overlay of who I am. I was born to Mother Deborah Ann Walker, and my father, my biological father, Leroy McFadden, and my mom was taken, meaning killed, at the age of 19, 20 years old. She was shot in the chest by an angry man, and thus I was about 1 year old, maybe 1.5 years old. Well, when I was 5 years old, I was run over by my adopted grandmother by mistake, going into school, and by the grace and mercy of Yah, I was not ran over completely and killed. Oh, that's some good homemade rice here. But after that, my adopted father was killed at work. I was around 6-7 years old, and I started to question everything in life, because I found out I was adopted, and I always had this inkling, even as a child, like, hey, I'm kind of different. You know, why am I different? All y'all are light skinned and I'm dark. Well, they said you're special. This is what they told me. Well, indeed, I am special, but at the time I wasn't feeling very special. I knew I was smart. I knew I could, I wouldn't even call it smart, I would just say intuitive. And so I went out in search of the world to see who I was. Well, I got in a bunch of trouble coming up. You know, not a whole lot of trouble, because I've always been kind-hearted and good-hearted. But those same kind-hearted people, you know, I have found out will destroy you if you try to destroy them. So, but anyway, I came up through life, had a few setbacks, started working when I was 16 years old. Still, like I said, lived a pretty fast life, because I was in search of myself. And at the age of 16, 15, I was in a car accident with one of my cousins. At the age of 9, I forgot to say that, I was in a car accident with my mother going to a prayer meeting. And so now I'm at the age of 18. At the age of 18, I get in a car accident, hit a house. 19 years old, 20 years old, hit a house. And after that, spent a little time in the clink, got out, continued to work and live my life. But I was in another accident. I was rear-ended at the age of 21, 22. Well, this van, it was a van, rear-ended me, causing trauma to my neck. Well, Yah blessed me, and I was healed. I was very fit. Went to the clinic again because when you can't work and nobody's helping you, either you're gonna just die and lay over, or go sleep in the park, or you're gonna do things that you don't agree with normally in your spirit. So I'm one of those people that say, hey, I'm not going to sleep in no park. But anyway, I was locked up. But before I was locked up, I felt this sense of death. Hence, I always carried firearms. So I have a record of firearms, which I no longer carry, because I feel like if I am a child of the Creator, that I'm protected. And if something so should happen, then I'm going to be with the Father. So I'm not worried about this shell of a life. So before I got incarcerated, I cried out to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because I was at that time, I had came into some 5%ers, and I was leaning more towards Scientology, and 5% know the truth and the rest of the world doesn't. But I never denied Christ. I never denied Yahweh, because I always believed. Even when I was a kid, I started reading at 3. Well, 3 days after I made this prayer and this call, it was desperate. I had houses, women, money, everything. And I was so broken and incomplete. Doing studies on my own and putting myself into the exhibit instead of just watching everything else unfold and making my conclusions off of everybody else's life. A lot of things I did partake in myself, as this King Solomon. Well, I got this spiritual awakening 3 days after being in the clink, and I was reminded of a story that I had read, that when we have gone outside of our capacity of transgressing against Yah, He will allow the enemy to incarcerate you, to show you your errors and wickedness. Well, He does show me that, and I made a pact with Him that if He would show me who He was, that I would tell it, and I would forever be grateful to Him, and I would serve Him. Well, I have not relented on my pact with Yah the Father. I have been a little stagnant. I have not always acted in total obedience unto Him, because I was told to come completely straight out of prison, which I spent 3 years in there, and to go and start to train the kids at the churches, train them in the way of obedience and the way of love. Well, I sort of halfway did that because I was worried about money and status, what people thought about me and what I should be. So I immediately went to work. Yah blessed me with favor. I met a man. He trained me and paid me at the same time. I didn't do a whole lot of work. I did a whole lot of riding, watching him. He said, hey, people have messed it up before you. He said, I'm doing this out of a favor. He said, so you got to learn quick. I said, oh, I learned quick. He said, well, we shall soon see. He took a doorknob off, and there was 3 that needed to be changed in the house. He said, now change the other 2. Well, I completed the task. And he gave me more responsibility, up to the point where he started giving me my own bids. Well, here comes sin and temptation. I met a person over the phone by complete accident. still had some of the residue of mentality that thought that it was okay if there was problems in the marriage and there was she was choosing me and she was looking for a way out. So I started an affair, knowing it was wrong, but didn't fully understand the depths of the wrong. Well, I was hit by a train at work in 2007 from the side, from the blind side, my blind side. And I still didn't even equate that to my sin in my life. Because although we weren't having sex at that time, we were talking very frequently. Her heart was pulling towards me and mine towards her. See, that's what sin is. Sin is an agreeance. It's not a sometimes you fall. That's an infraction. But living in sin is agreeing with the infraction. Now I know. But anyway, well, I ruptured 4 discs in my neck. C4, C5, C6, C7. And for me to even drive myself to the immediate care that they sent me to just to take a drug test is a sure gift of faith and mercy in favor of Yah. To be hit by a train and drive yourself to the doctor's office and then home later that night, but when I woke up that morning I couldn't move, but still drove to work to tell my boss, hey, I got to go to the emergency room because I can barely move. Some told me to put on the clothes that I was going to wear to work because I had work outfits at the job in a locker, so I didn't wear work clothes to work. I wore regular clothes, but I dressed in my clothes after I got out the shower that night, and I'm glad I did because I couldn't move that morning. Well, this was in 2007. It is now 2014, and I'm up, walking around. But we're not going to stop there. Well, one day, me and this woman was having sex, and I seen the demon that was luring me to hell. And I cut that agreement off with that demon, with that woman, immediately. Well, life started to get a little better. But we still have lessons. We still have trials we have to go through. And mine was not over. And maybe still might not be over, but I get in a car accident. 2011. Woman pulled out in front of me, going into a bridal shop. 2012, that was. 2013, I slip, fall at the gas station, tearing both rotator cuffs. This left one in 6 different places, and you know, if you was here with me, you'll hear the popping every time I move it. I received my minister's license. All that wasn't enough. I helped found a church, or I don't like to call it church because we are all the church, the body of Christ. Helped found a school. Everything still did not add up because I still wasn't vertical with the Father. I was kind of still tilted a little bit. Well, engaged in group sex with women. No men. Well, I could say men too, but you know, one in the front, one in the back. Not touching a man. That's something that the enemy can't tempt me with, because I have no desire to be with a man. But anyway, he showed me favor all the way through. When I came home from my surgery, because I had a tri-level neck surgery, I had no one around. It was only me. My sister came for 2 days, and she fixed me meals, and I thank her for that, very much so. And after that, I was on my own. And that mentality kicked in. Either you're gonna lay down and die, or you're gonna get up and live. So I started building myself back up. Here comes temptation again. Here comes doubt. It never leaves us. He said that the enemy will always come back at a more opportune time. Instead of trusting him and doing all the things that he had taught me, well, I kind of went for the secondary, meaning, okay, here's a relationship, 2 people together, which is not a bad idea, but it's about who you're going into contract and relationship with. But this was another test for me to check my love meter. It's easy to love someone that loves you back, but to love someone who is at the same time trying to destroy you unbeknownst to themselves, hate, bitterness, man, when I say it's tough to love an enemy or love someone who does not love you but profess it out their mouth, but every chance they get, they hurt you, they shame you, they try to dismantle you. Well, I passed that test. I loved till that person left. I could have put that person out many times over, because it was my place. But I chose to love. And it said, love, perfect love, drives out fear. Perfect love will defeat the enemy. So that person left, and I still was okay. He still blessed me. I think I spent more money with that person than I would have by myself. So see how fear will pull you in a way that you'll be worse off and more harm than you would had you just listened to the Father. Well, he says all things work together for your good. And I thank this person because it showed me that I do love, and I can love even when fear and hurt is in front of me. And pain. Let's not forget the pain. Shit, let's not forget the pain. Still today have a residue of pain. But I'm walking, I'm talking, I'm happy. And I just wanted to tell that testimony because I heard the call again that says, hey, you are my high priest. You are of the priesthood. Come from them. He didn't want me to be in the back room with the other guys because it's all built on falsehood. Unbeknownst to them, not all of them, some of them know about the falsehood and they just going to ride the pony till the pony is tired and done. But a lot of the pastors and ministers, they are perishing for lack of knowledge. They are acting out of ignorance. And it's not because they're not trained. It's not because they don't read their Bibles, their oracles. It's because prophecy has to be fulfilled. And it was already foreseen before it even happened. Yah said he is not a man that he should lie. But he created man with his own breath and his own hands. A pleasant work, he called it. So we are all special when we're in the will of the Creator, when we're outside of the will of the Creator. But when we humble ourselves and come and hollow, how do you hollow something? You cry, you yell, you give a ah. Y'all know what that is when y'all having sex. That's why you say ah. You're hollowing. Sex in itself, once again, is not bad. It's who you're dealing with or what you're dealing with. So to all the believers out there, continue to believe. To all the unbelievers, I'm proof. I'm standing here holding my phone and fixed my rice. Done went and dropped papers off today at the courthouse. Went and seen my mom. Still drive, you know? And all these accidents. I have my own records, radiology records, to prove all the trauma that I have suffered in my life. I forgot to tell you that my legs was reconstructed at 12 years old as well. They diagnosed me with some thing called Blount's disease, but my both legs was bowed for a reason. And they broke my legs. They talked my fraternal grandmother who adopted me into giving me this surgery to try to hide the fact of who I was. They took out my tonsils, trying to distract my voice. They put a block inside my neck, trying to stop the vertical message. See, just like the sun, it's just like a tree. We get our message straight from up above. Boom. It hits our brain, goes down our spine, comes back up. Yah-oh-ah is real. Yahuwah is very real. They crucified him. The ground split. It's all recorded in all the books. The earth was shaken. And he said the Messiah, the messenger, will come and pave the way for him. It's called the precious Lamb, coming with judgment this time around. Well, they guided because the English language and all the other languages are so watered. It's not even lamb, it's lamp. Light is coming back. See? A lamb is helpless. But a lamp and a light, fire, is not. So once again, to all my family, to all the believers, non-believers, his name is Yahuwah. You have access through Yahuwah, the light of the world, the lamp unto your feet, a light unto your path. Trust him. Call on him. And he shall see you through.